Hey everybody, before we get started, wanted to bring your attention to my best friend Dan has a cat named Skeeter who has FIP, which is a very upsetting disease for your cat to have. And he's trying to raise money for the experimental drugs for it that are quite expensive. So if you go to bit.ly/save Skeeter, that's bit.ly/SAVESKEETER, you can help raise money for them to pay for their cat's medicine to keep her alive. So it would really mean a great deal to me if you did that. So please check that out, bit.ly/save Skeeter. And now, on with the show. I'm Jason Klom, and this is Comedy on Vinyl. The year is 2021. The album Strong Bad Sings and Other Type Hits. The artist, Strong Bad. That's the character anyway. My guest this week, Alex Salem. Hi, Alex Salem.
Hi, Jason Klom.
So, let's start here. Why did you pick this record? And maybe explain to people what Strong Bad is, what Homestar Runner is if they're older.
I'd be happy to. Well, if they're younger.
Yeah, younger too.
Honestly,
You're
at
right.
this point, it's like it has gone the way of millennials and older.
Yeah.
I will absolutely do that, Jason. May I ask real quick though, how familiar are or were you with Homestar Runner?
I was introduced to Homestar Runner right around the time it started being a thing in the very early 2000s, because they started first off, I think, January 2000. I didn't get it. I still don't get it. I don't judge it because I can tell that there's something that's just missing in my brain to make me appreciate it on the level everybody else does. So, and many people, this was the period when you would try and spread the stuff around and be like, hey, check this out. This is the funniest thing in the world. I'm like, I get it almost. And it never quite struck the same chord with me that it did everybody else. So, but I'm familiar enough that I know I've seen a bunch of their early, the emails and stuff, the more popular videos that they did.
That's a really shitty feeling.
Mm-hmm.
What is wrong with my brain that everybody gets this thing, and so you assume it's a thing you don't get?
Right.
I don't think that's true. I mean,
it may not be true, but I'm being more open-minded than I was, say, when we had James Urbaniak on here and he picked Martin Mull, and I started out antagonistically saying, please explain yourself. I don't get any of this. I'm trying to be maybe more gentle this time around instead, although it was funny to
I like how you use the kid gloves with me, but you let Urbaniak have it full force.
He's doing
he
fine.
can take it.
Yeah, he's doing okay.
But
he's
I'm
Dr.
very
Venture.
sensitive, Jason.
You're a kind human being. So is James Urbaniak, but I'm just saying.
I personally would have done it the other way around.
What the fuck is wrong with you, Salem? Why do you like this shit? Whereas
I'll tell you why.
As I'm playing it, my wife is giggling and laughing at it and enjoying it because she gets it. It's her.
Because it's delightful. It's fucking delightful, and you're wrong, Jason.
That's fair.
No.
That's perfectly fair.
Okay, I'm confused. I'm confused. Every single thing about this. Do you like They Might Be Giants?
Yeah, love They Might Be
They
Giants.
have worked, the Brothers Chaps, heretofore referred to as the Brothers Chaps, two gentlemen, Matt and Mike Chapman, created and ran pretty much the entire thing known as HomestarRunner.com. It actually began with a children's book they wrote. They tried to write it as a legitimate children's book in 1996, I believe, is the sort of the dawn of it. And then in the late 90s, got into this thing called Flash animation, which to this day I still don't understand, but it worked really good in the internet of the early 2000s.
Yes.
And then by what was that, a year or two ago, Flash was not only had it been obsolete for years, it was officially closed, or however that works. And they've, for the most part, gotten as much as they can of their catalog onto YouTube. But for those who don't know, it began with a couple of cartoons here and there. It started with a kid's book where it's it's this wonderful nameless kind of timeless little space, and the main character is just a dude. You're introduced to him. This is the Homestar Runner. He's a terrific athlete, and he's just this cartoon figure of a guy with a baseball cap and a red shirt with a white star on it. And then you meet his nemesis, who is some guy called Strong Bad, who is just like a dude in black pants and no shirt and a wrestling mask, and he wears red boxing gloves. And then there's like characters that pop up around that. And then when they started making the Flash animation, they pretty much immediately dropped that sort of like classic children's book tone that they probably were originally going for when they created it, and everything took on all of this like not exactly sarcasm, kind of dry humor, but definitely what we would call quality 2000s alt comedy. And It wasn't being produced by anything mainstream. It was just produced by these two guys, and it just existed on this website, and this website never ever had ads. In fact, like I would hear a story or two that like over the years, I think the Chapman brothers eventually did go on to work in television writing or something, but like people would approach them with like, hey, let's do a Homestar Runner show or, you know, a film, whatever, and they never ran ads and they never took the development deal. All they did was keep making the stuff. They would make at least one cartoon a week during their heyday from approximately 2002, 2003 till about 2008 or 9, I want to say. And or maybe I have that wrong. More like 98 to like 07. And they would almost publish one video every week, one cartoon. And then the way that like the sort of world of Homestar Runner would build would be off of like random kind of associations. Like entire characters might be created based on a joke, and then those characters would stick around and recur again and again, so you'd be rewarded for sticking with it. Every single thing existed on its own, and somehow they achieved this fun tone and credibility as like underground and cool and funny while also being entirely PG. Like there's a whole joke about how like Strong Bad says holy crap all the time, but that is literally the most profanity ever said. There's like one or two jokes where like years later I've thought back and I'm like, oh, that's an innuendo. But really, like they maintained a tone of incredulity while being completely clean, which is incredibly impressive. And the main thing that was became like what you tuned in for. They even joke about it. There's like an intro cartoon, right? Where Homestar can't. They introduce the website, and then Strong Bad takes over eventually, and his line is, "You don't know it yet, but I'm the reason you're here." And it is like Strong Bad and Homestar are a Bugs and Daffy. They are a Mickey and Donald, maybe like. I had one better. I had one other better, but Bugs and Daffy's pretty good. Like there's there's like often an adversarial thing, but it's like harmless adversarial, and like they're sort of clever and witty in different ways, but just they're dynamic. But anyway, long story short, they started a series where Strong Bad would answer emails that people would genuinely send to them. And then it became a thing where they would advertise, like, you can email Strong Bad directly, who's a character. And by the way, there's like 10 main characters, all voiced by Matt Chapman. Mike Chapman voiced like one of them, maybe. And like a woman named Missy, I forget her last name, voices one other character. And then they sort of come up with this joke kind of world within the world at one point that they revisit a few times where Mike voices all the characters in like a bizarro world. But other than that, like two guys write and edit and create the whole thing, and one of those guys voices everything. So that is the world. And then in 2003, after hitting this hard for a few years, and this had already grown into something different and so much fun to return to every week, they finally released an album called Strong Bad Sings and Other Type Hits, which for my money, a reason it's one of my favorites, stuck with me over the years. I love listening to it, and it shows it. Honestly, when did you start comedy on vinyl, Jason?
2011.
Yeah, I knew you by then, and when you told me about this, the podcast originally, you're like, here's what we're going to do. I immediately knew. I was like, okay, someday I want to talk about this specific album because this is the comedy album that I think is noteworthy, is the best, means the most to me, is the most fun, is very, very impressive. We're going to talk a lot about genre and parody is a very impressive whole kind of like ape on so many different fun things, and is just it's just like I can't think of almost too many other things at all that exist like this thing exists, and it just makes me smile that it exists. And I was waiting until like some time ago I finally saw they had released a limited like a fun, more unique type of pressing on vinyl. I listened to it on a burned CD for years. It came out originally 2003. But now there is a cool vinyl pressing. So I hit you up because now we can genuinely talk about it on the show.
Yes, it's fair. I will say I love the cover. The cover's very good of this new release, which came out in February of this year. The cover's fantastic. It's very metal.
Let me find it here because metal.
I can share it if you like.
Oh, can you just do that? Yeah.
I just share my little screen here.
Wow.
Wow. Can you see it? Am I on? You're on this screen. Okay, good.
Oh, that's all right. See, that's McConaughey meets Owen. Okay, yes. The cover is a character. Like it's like a version of Strong Bad.
Yeah.
Strong Bad primarily, but sometimes all of the characters get like different versions of themselves, and it's hard to find a comparison to this, but it does exist. Like in like long running cartoons, there's like like sometimes we play in a different genre, or there's a different version, kind of the whole world for like a fun little jaunt outside of the thing, and this looks like Strong Bad as we know him if he were a character on the cover of a Meatloaf album. He's got wings. He's got dragon wings that'll come into play. He's still got his boxing gloves, but on one hand. Do you want to describe the rest of it?
He has 3 arms total, and zebra striped tight pants. One of the arms is an alien or a lizardy weird green arm. The other one is a robot arm with a sort of lightsaber in it.
That is a sort of lightsaber. That is like a jagged lightsaber.
The guitar has an eyeball on it that we can assume might be a real eyeball, and sort of a space. And the planet he's standing on is splitting down the middle, probably because of rock and roll. I'm assuming.
And my sources cannot confirm this at this time, but we suspect, Mary, that it is because of rock and or roll. Back over to you at the desk. Also, in the other hand, like one of them has a boxing glove on, is a microphone, and the microphone is also an eyeball.
Also an eyeball. How did I miss that? It's very good.
Already like multiple things here. In addition to just being metal, like I guess I'm looking at the zebra pants, do like fit into not just the style, but like at least one specific reference to what I feel is going on in the album. Let's and then let's go through a few. And then, can you describe the back cover, please?
Sure. The back is seemingly the reverse image of exactly what we just saw, except there's an audience of skulls in front of him. Look to be skulls, like he's playing to skulls.
Can you deduce, Jason, in the pantheon of comedy albums on vinyl, they cannot have been the first to do this gag. I mean, like, I like the way they're doing it, but I can't imagine they're pretending they invented this gag. It is a lovely gag regardless. Do you know other examples of this gag? I don't. I'm curious if you do.
This gag exists in a movie somewhere that I can't remember. It's a painting. There's a painting situation. It's either Airplane or something else like it, but I can't think of a comedy album that does this.
It's the same painting from the
gag
view.
But I don't. Off the top of my head, no. I can't think of a comedy album that does this. And I like it. It is a solid gag. And also, there's a shine coming off of his ass. It should be pointed out. It's a very tight ass, and there's a shine coming off of his tight ass.
There's all this, on the front cover, there's all this light pointing at him. And from the back view, you can still see some of the light up top, like on his face at the lightsaber. And then, like, it's all dim around him from the back view, except there's a glimmer on his ass. And I can see looking at the track listing here on the vinyl back cover that it's the same damn track listing as the CD. Like there wasn't anything necessarily added.
Let's see.
Which is impressive that they got everything onto a side A and a side B, because some of these songs, and we'll get to this, are wicked short.
Yeah. Looking at some of the insert art, which is also very good.
Okay, this is the same type of strong bad we see on the front, but with only 2 arms, and it's more of a mythical strong bad with, like, spiked armor, though he's still shirtless. The lightsaber's now a full-on sword, but he's still holding a microphone and a boxing glove. I imagine it's like this is an alt. This is maybe was an alt for the front cover. And then he's like facing off against a dragon, like this art style of a Trogdor character type of dragon, except the dragon's tongue is a guitar fretboard.
There's a lot going on in this. There's a lot going on. What is? I can't tell what this. It's got tentacles. This dragon also has tentacles, seemingly. And I don't know what else. Oh, wait. Is that? Those are like knobs, like musical, like knob dials of some kind, or part of the outside of the dragon. Okay, so the dragon is kind of a good. Oh no, those aren't suction cups. What am I thinking? Those are what do you call them?
Those are frets.
Thank you.
No,
that's the
not
what's
frets.
the
Sorry.
fucking word?
No, what's the at the end of a guitar? Pegs that you turn to tighten or loosen
those
strings.
things. Someone's screaming at their whatever people listen to podcasts on now.
And then is the dragon's neck a melted clock?
That's what it looked like to me at first, but I'm like, maybe it's got to be something more guitar related. But that's exactly what it looks like, is like a dolly clock of some kind.
It could be.
Yeah. Then we've got the other, opposite
Go back.
side.
Go back.
Yes, sure. Quick. Yeah.
Go back real quick. What is? Can you tell it like it's depicting any time on the clock?
I can't. Yeah, that's why I can't be sure if it is a clock.
Because it's midnight.
Okay.
Well, no, I can't tell. If it was, though, that's the only explanation I could think of.
Right.
Next slide, please.
Sure.
Okay, so this is produced by the Brothers Chaps, which is how they are known, and YOU. That tells me that they kickstarted this.
It has a lot of sort of sample art, possibly, or at least looks like these are little sketches.
These are like the style in which like Strong Bad draws, and you've seen Strong Bad draw random what have you on more than one occasion. It's not something he does often, but when he does do it, it has led to some of the most notable characters in the entire Homestarniverse. Because that's exactly where Trogdor and the Teen Girl Squad come from.
Okay.
And one or both of them are arguably like more well known internet wise than maybe Strong Bad himself is.
Interesting.
Like, I think over here, this is a good example. Okay, so what does the cheat say? It just says, I don't know what this. Squint your eyes at these credits. They turn into cool stuff. That's sort of a little drawing of Strong Bad saying that. And then below, it says, like a UFO leveling a major city. And that's what it looks like is drawn. And then next to it is, or like a really swank desk lamp. And that's what's drawn. And it's like, it looks like the same thing, but but they made them look like how they're described. And it reminds me of what's on the front cover.
It's very good.
So these examples of introducing concepts and then variations on them. This will come back later, Jason.
Yes, good. Do we have any? What else is in here? Oh, okay. We got some liner notes that look like they're printed on.
I haven't reviewed this yet. So may I?
Yes, please.
Strong Bad's musical talents exist at the crossroads of Hold on. Can you hear the plane in the background?
A little bit, but who gives a shit?
Okay, it's just a copter. Strong Bad's musical talents exist at the crossroads of a crockload of sonic tenacity, lyrical ascendancy, and melodic pretendency. These raw ingredients are melted down in the brain furnace of his mind and poured at high velocity out of his flesh-tangled mouth into the waiting vessel of your eager ears like melted cheese into that little meatball that happens when you microwave a single slice of bologna. That was Strong said talking into the mirror a few seconds ago. And then this is how he would set that up, and then we go, welcome, taut listener, to this vinyl release of Strong Bad Sings. If you're like me, you've spent the last 17 years of your life trying to get the original CD release to play on your turntable, ruining needles, wrecking the disc, and spending many fruitless hours on the phone with Audio-Technica customer support. I even tried spray painting the CD black and cut a bigger hole in the middle with a jigsaw so it looked like a 7-inch. It still didn't play and actually made sparks this time. But I was able to sell it to StrongSat for $23 when I wrote the UK import on it. The point is, this version of the album will actually work on your record player. Also, Limousine is on it. Twice, and Tarantula. Definitely subwoof your tweeters when those tracks come on. I was kind of hoping Coach Z and Marzipan songs would get cut from this release, but they're still on here. But it's mostly all me, and that means this record is full of train droppers. Know what I'm saying? So get a super long extension cord, put your record player in your car, roll down the windows, and crank this here opus while you drive around the cul-de-sac until the neighbors call the cops. How do I make #1 jams with boxing gloves on? Drop the needle, taut listener, and find out. And this is printed on dot matrix paper, which is indicative of like the tag of every Strong Bad email cartoon would always end with like, it started as like they went through the years of doing Strong Bad emails. Strong Bad's computer and the tech around it would evolve with the times. So it started with like, you know, like a DOS computer on dot matrix printer, and eventually got to like, you know, like a nice laptop, like a MacBook kind of thing. And then by then they would only post very, very infrequently, and then they would joke about that. But here, there's the dot matrix one. And then he was always asked, how do you type with boxing gloves on? Because he's always sitting at his computer typing and answering emails while wearing boxing gloves. So the recurring question of that became a joke. And then, oh, I love it. There's a little asterisk then with a footnote that says, Strong Bad is not responsible for any damage to this record, your turntable, your car, your neighbors as a result of taking this advice.
I love it. I do like the attention to detail in this kind of thing. This is a big fan service record, which I cannot argue with. It will not refuse to. Man, this art is great. This art is great. This great is fantastic. That's what I just about said.
This art is great. This great is fantastic. This great is fantastic. The fantastic is art.
Wait, this is side A. What am I?
This art is great. This great is fantastic. This is closer.
That's just a close-up, yeah.
This is a close-up on the... So it's like... It's the same style as the front cover with like a cool like sort of like what's like dye art like album like vinyl art kind of thing, like red and black. Yeah, like a Meatloaf metal record kind of thing with like a demonic looking Strong Bad-esque figure, you know, like Strong Bad meets like you know, an orc you'd see in a Magic the Gathering card or something like that. And it's epic. And then this like the first one's good on its own.
Sure.
Now describe this to me, Jason.
Sure. This is a hand-drawn, supposedly on notebook paper, roughly the same art, but much more childish, clearly drawn by Strong Bad, and then with a little post-it that says, "Hey, art guy, I don't know, something like this, Strong Bad." It's great. It's fucking great.
It's perfect. And then like good. it's the world. It indicates like what they're like what they're doing with an album. One of my favorite descriptions of satire or the evolution of satire was Jon Stewart talking about. Do you remember the rally to restore sanity?
Yeah.
I don't even remember what the hell the original one was. It was 2010, and I think Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck and company were having a rally called like the Rally to blah blah something. This was 2010. So this was the height of what was then called the Tea Party. Was one step in well, let's not go without going all into that, but it was, let's just say it was very early into the Obama years, and it was that era's version of a different group of people responding to
white supremacists.
I mean,
I don't care.
A lot of people were definitely upset about it. F and A Cotton. No, fucking A. And Jon Stewart was saying when they heard about this rally, and like him and Colbert, like this was way pre Late Show Colbert, and Stewart was like still on like the big upswing. He was just like leading to like his peak. Like I think he was like just getting into like when like after several years of like building the Daily Show, not just up into like a really funny, respected comedy institution, but a respected political institution.
Sure.
And he talked about the rally, and he was like, "What a great format for what we do." And I really like that description, because it's like he's saying what we do is always the same. Like our style of sort of parody, but comedy, but shining a light on something, making a point, using the laugh. And I feel like that's what these guys did. Like they do their like weekly cartoons, but like what I love most about this album is they did that. They're like, what if in this world, what would the hit album be? And that's what this is.
Yeah. No, this is perfect presentation for exactly what is on this record.
Yes.
It is pompous with enough peaks at what the actual character is and who the hell was I talking about recently? I don't know, but it makes me think of Steve Martin, because or older records that would, again, like you're saying, present like an artifact from the world, but a little peek behind like the pomposity that is making it happen because the main character is a fucking nut bar. I like these things. This is a really well put together record. If this were like, again, I don't hate it or anything, but if this were my thing, I would absolutely glom onto this I want the record. Just so that it is clear, I want this record. It's gorgeous. I really do want this one.
I think you would dig you owning this.
Holy shit! One for sale from $150. So those going for a bit of a high price.
That is, I would support somebody paying that. I won't pay that.
Right.
I don't know for certain if it's worth that, but I would support somebody paying that. Roughly, by your estimation, Jason.
Yes, sir.
Out of all of the comedy on vinyl albums, I would say there's a lot, like there's some albums that they might have a musical thing here or there. I'm not talking about that. They might even have a full-on song. But a lot of comedy album is, for the most part, spoken word. And not necessarily, but there's a lot like that.
Sure.
I'm curious, out of like, let's say the albums that you've covered on the breadth of this podcast, what percentage of them are pretty much entirely music or comedy music?
I mean, it's mostly just when we've talked about Weird Al. I know there are exceptions here and there, but it's mostly like, it's just, if you talk about Weird Al, that's obviously what you've signed up for, which is, it's a fairly high
Weird Al,
percentage.
once I re-listened to this whole album, Weird Al is exactly the next thing Spotify gave me.
Yeah, of course.
If you don't do anything, they'll keep you shit, so you keep using their product. Yeah.
Sure.
I got Saga Begins. It was pretty nice. It was fun.
Nice. I mean, that's good. I love the long songs are a particular love of mine, and although I'm a big fan of the deeper cuts, but the long songs are always good, and that's a fun one.
Then it rolled right into some Birdhouse in Your Soul. Frequent collaborators, They Might Be Giants.
We have talked about They Might Be Giants once on the podcast too, with an eye towards just the funny parts of it. I think we talked about, we did. We talked about Bare Naked Ladies once with DC Pearson. Again, not strictly music or comedy, but definitely funny.
Definitely music.
Yes, most definitely.
And definitely funny. They have solid stuff on there. That's beautiful. DC Pearson picked that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah, it was a good choice.
Yeah. We could even say all the above. DC, TMBG, BNL.
Sure.
Friends of the pod.
Friends of the pod. Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. Big time. Mm-hmm. Former guests. They might be giants. I would shit myself. That would be. I don't even know what they.
Whether former guests or not, definitely friend of the pod.
Sure, definitely. Most definitely. So let's.
Do
okay,
Most
so
Def
these
album too.
Mm-hmm. We should. These I didn't realize that this song or this album had originally been released, as you say, on CD in 2003. I didn't even look. So that's fantastic. The original cover is only is roughly hand drawn looking on lined paper.
Is it a similar type of image?
Why don't I share my screen again like a smart person would do? How's that sound? Okay, so these are smaller images, so as a heads up. So it is this, which I love, which is what you find if you go on YouTube, which is how I fortunately got to listen to it.
And I love that. I don't know if they continue this as the album, the record label, but but there's like a note in the bottom right corner that says "cheap as free," as if that was the label. And "cheap as free" recurs in the Homestar-niverse as the also the company that created the Cheat Commandos playsets and toys.
Okay.
Which is like part of like an offshoot of the world created by one joke, like you know, like a variation on genre. Like they make one joke about like the cheat doing a commando thing, the cheat being the, and I guess next or whenever you want, I'll go into all the characters, but
sure.
Cheat being sort of like a cross between Strong Bad's like sidekick and like mostly his best friend, but he's also an animal who like it's like Kenny, like when he talks, like Strong Bad knows what he's saying, but we only hear
Okay.
and he's depicted as more of an animal or pet in the way that none of the other characters really are.
Okay.
But like one time, like they're doing some sort of mission, secret ops type of silly adventure for like 2 minutes in a random ass cartoon, and Strong Bad goes like, "I'm not gonna call you that. It's not a good commando name. Okay. Would you please hand me the whatever Firebert?" And so then, like, next thing you know, like next week or 3 months later, here's a whole cartoon called Cheat Commandos, one of the characters being Firebert. And really, it's like if it's another world with an entirely different animation style, if there was like a world where all the characters were whatever the same species the cheat is.
Okay.
And it was a G.I. Joe parody. So it's like a G.I. Joe parody within the Homestar-niverse. And then after there's 2 Cheat Commandos cartoons, then they exist in the world, and you've got another one-off character about an actor who voices one of the Cheat Commandos. And then you've got commercials for the play sets and toys as seen on the Cheat Commandos TV show. So it's a tune out of a music video advertising a product that only exists in the fictional show that was spun off of one joke from these characters. That's one of the best ways I can explain what the hell we're dealing with, Jason.
Yeah. No, that's good. I mean, I like deep mythology, especially for something like this that knows that it's goofy and silly. I mean, you know, to build a deep mythology keeps people invested in the goofiest stuff, and I will not deny it's goofy and it is fun. So, I just, you know.
You will not deny it's goofy and fun. You just... No. What?
Oh, no. I was just going to say, I wish I had... I think there are points of reference I need. That's all.
That's what I'm here for. That's
you know what I mean? And you're helping.
You're flipping through the liner notes of the CD version. Which
yes.
Is, technically, I might point out, should be saved for an upcoming podcast called Comedy on Compact Disc or Cock D. But
welcome to Cock D.
Welcome to Cock D. It's me in the place to be, Jason Klom. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen?
Oh my God! Can I tell you? I've thought about what would it be if I did continue this and not stick to the very limiting vinyl format. I stay very limiting. I still have hundreds of records I could still talk about, but
exactly. It'd be comedy on cassette and just cock. It's better than COV, which, by the way, you sent me like the Zoom link. The subject line. Today's date is 9/15. Spoiler alert, folks. You know, like, but so what I see is subject line, bold letters, COV9, and I'm like, oh, fuck, is this a COVID thing?
all of my posts, by the way, Facebook has flagged since COVID became a thing. So this contains data about COVID. It doesn't. It's just that every file begins with COV, and it must be embedded somewhere in there. And they know. Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Stop spreading misinformation about the pandemic, Jason Klom.
I'm sorry.
COVID-19 did not star the introduction of Von Meter. All right?
Oh, Christ. Yeah, it's been an adventure. What we're getting at here, Salem, of anybody, I've had it the roughest during this whole pandemic.
Oh, that's true. That is.
You know, it really, guys like me, I'm being an asshole. Just
well, you had to
so
move to
anybody's aware.
Detroit.
I did.
I didn't have it that hard.
That's true. To be fair, that was a pain in my absolute ass. But
truth. So the CD liner notes you were just flipping through there,
Mm-hmm.
they point to other sort of. Were you a big Doug fan?
I liked Doug a lot. I don't remember a ton about it, but I did love it when it was on.
Do you remember, like, okay, so like the show would be happening, the story would be happening, you'd be seeing Doug in his life in school and with his friends and his family, and then he would like be off like imagining these like flights of fancy. There'd be whole sequences where he's like in like a daydream, and within that there would be recurring characters. There would be his version of James Bond, who was called Smash Adams, and it would be Doug like dressed like James Bond, and that kind of adventures. Then there would be his Indiana Jones sort of type alter ego. There would be his Superman alter ego, who was called Quail Man, and then Quail Man would become more and more of a real thing later on. And then there would be his Steven Seagal version literally called Waffle Stomper. And like, I did not get this at the time, but the whole point was he like had a suit and like a ponytail, and like he had these really big ass boots. I still to this day have seen very little Steven Seagal movies, so I did not get a lot of that. But like, anyway, so that's one of the only examples I can think of off the top of my head of
That's good.
what's going on here. So like, okay, those liner notes, you see one image, it's just a pair of aviator sunglasses sitting on a desk. That is like the that's like the because like, okay, so he makes like an action hero alter ego called Danger-esque, and it's not about him being an action hero. It's about, the jokes are about how shitty the movie franchise about the character are. Like the next movie is never gonna come out, even though they keep teasing it. It starts with the sequel. Like it's shit. Like, and then like when you actually watch it, it's so low budget, even though it's all animated. Like they animated the characters filming it low budget.
Love it.
And it's beautiful. Then you go past, there's other bands like Tarantula and Limousine. Those start from one joke where he's like, you know, these bands never you know, and they're always like misspelled, so it's TARANCHULA or LIMOZEEN. Like that's the whole point. But each one of them being two examples of many, become a very and this is what's important about the record. This is what's significant about what they do. This is why I love it so much. As we go through today, Jason, we will count how many genres are referenced or aped in this thing, because almost each track represents a different genre, because we're talking about specific genres instead of broad genres. Like Tarantula and Limousine would both have existed around the same time, but they're each a different subgenre. Tarantula is definitely harder metal, like Black Sabbath, or harder, like just something non-mainstream. We're out of my expertise on that. But Limousine is almost like beat for beat, like a Guns N' Roses or a Twisted Sister, like an 80s hair metal. And like sometimes you even see them. They play the guys in Limousine in live action, and there's like a live action video within the cartoon, and they just have giant ass hair metal wigs and things like that. And they go, and then they kept doing it even after this album came out. And like one of them, there's a band called there's just no room for it on this album, but there's a band in the universe later called Sloshy, which is basically like it's like part Weezer and part My Chemical Romance or something like that. Like it's
God.
and it's the whole point is it's what like the character Strong Sad listens to. But like it very well represented like a mid 2000s. Actually, you know what? Neither My Chemical Romance or Weezer would be either of these. It very much represented a mid 2000s, very very hipster indie rock kind of thing.
Okay.
So like they would have specificity to each one of those. Like as we go through the tracks now, some of them are by Strong Bad. Many of them are by other characters or other bands that may have only existed in the universe once.
Yeah.
But almost every single song on this album is all sung by the same human being, like in real production.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the more impressive parts to me. Number one, yes, very specific and this is very well produced. I don't want the intent of the setup of the record looking like we could be doing. It looks like could be doing one of two things. One, make it look way better than it is by having this really great cover, and then subverting your expectations by also putting like the crappy hand-drawn art that is supposed to look even shittier, like extra shitty. Makes you think, well, it's a comedy record, so these guys aren't going to be very good. That's not true. The music is very well produced. That's number one.
That's one of the jokes.
It's so good. So I appreciate that. Definitely. The specifics. If you tell me what all these subgenres are, because I know nothing about music. This has been established fully on the podcast, and let's do it.
All right, I'm gonna go track by track, and by the end of this, see if we can find the door, your door, Jason, the Jason door into the Homestar universe.
Okay.
Joseph Campbell writes that in Arthurian legend, the Knights of the Round Table each needed to find their own entrance point into the great forest, because if you took a path that previously existed, that was somebody else's path. Therefore, we must find Jason's path.
Wow. It's pretty deep.
Actually, it was fun listening to this, bringing up some Spotify, because I learned that they actually released 3 volumes of the Homestar Runner original soundtrack in 2020. I didn't know this. I usually hear it's the kind of thing where like if they have released anything in the last 10 years, because the last 10 years, like they've released a couple of things, but they're very, 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 very sporadic, and they're not really actively doing it. But if they do something, it's the kind of thing where like a friend of mine will text me because they're like, "Oh, dude, did you see this? I saw this." I was like, "Oh, I didn't even know." But they like started releasing a bunch more of like their stuff from over the years, just last year. Okay, opens with Trogdor, opens strong. I would say this track, it's like the band Tarantula is playing it. It's like authentic metal. I wouldn't call it death metal, and I don't know any other like metal genres, but I wouldn't call it like rock or hard rock. I'd call it metal. And like some things like this, like metal or like other genres, there might be an entire Strong Bad email somewhere where like he's saying like, "Oh, that's not how you do metal. This is how you do metal. You use a lot of words that start with DE, like Delouse." And and he'll like just get off on like a tear like that, but he spends an entire email breaking down, here's what a metal album is, or like here's my personal favorite he breaks down three genres of FM radio. So he might do shit like that, and like that stuff might have already existed and is being referenced here. So Trogdor, it's sung by Strong Bad, and like half of it is like spoke talking, but like in a metal thing. Trogdor is probably the most iconic character to come from Homestar Runner. It is a response in a Strong Bad email. The Strong Bad email is literally, "Dear Strong Bad, how do you draw a dragon?" And like then this email now exists where like he's walking you through like just a silly like a spoof of a drawing class, or like take this, you sign up for this easy course with my step-by-step instruction. Call the number at the bottom of your screen. And then like you just see him like walk through, and the whole series of how to draw Trogdor is just ridiculous. It's just this ridiculous dragon that's more like a serpent with bat wings and like a human beefcake arm for no reason. And then it goes into this song. Trogdor was a man, or he was a dragon man, or maybe he was just a dragon, but he was still Trogdor. The lyrics are beautiful. They're always performed though with full sincerity of whatever genre of the song.
Yeah.
So it opens with Trogdor. Then it goes into The System Is Down. What I didn't realize, what I forgot until re-listening, is The System Is Down is an a cappella track.
Right.
The System Is Down came from another email where somebody was talking about techno music. So then the cartoon goes, "That's not techno music. I'll tell you. Let me tell you what techno music is. It's just some guy, and then he starts doing this. It goes like this: do 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 do, and then some other guy comes in like do 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 do, and then some crazy screaming guy comes in the background and goes like, and then they've got some soundbite from some 60s B movie that goes, "The system is down. The system is down." So this track is exactly that.
Yeah.
With full studio production, but still all Strong Bad doing all of the noises a cappella.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But then like the words that come in are like douche, which exists in another cartoon. Or like, and then like there's just a beat where he's like, "And dance, revolution." Like he just says revolution. Like, nah, you're required to say revolution after you say the word dance.
Sure.
On there. So the system, and then like the bass drops like in techno, and this is 03. The Strong Baddie National Anthem is more impressive than I realized, because they open it with a full like scene of they're in a classroom, and then he plays a character of a teacher trying to get the kids to shush up and sing the national anthem.
Yeah.
But he's still Strong Bad. And then, but this is, imagine a world where he's a teacher, and then they sing the national anthem, where the words are stream of consciousness about how awesome Strong Bad is.
Right.
And population tire, because that's part of the it's Strong Bad's backyard, or whatever the yards or places are in their thing is. It's like a picture of a back. Google Strong Baddie. You can share screen or not share screen or whatever, but like I just like I'm hammering the point home a little bit better with a visual aid, but it's a picture of like a patio with a white picket fence, and there's like a tire laying down.
Yeah. And
like leaning against a cinder block is a stop sign that has been turned into, say, Strong Badia.
Yeah, I love it.
This is these are their national anthem. Population time. And each like lyrically, it's beautiful, absurd comedy. The way like it's a full song, and just one thought leads to another thought, but it is a song, which does remind me very much of, say, They Might Be Giants, i.e., like Dr. Worm when he's like,
sure.
My favorite one of my They Might Be Giants things is Dr. Worm, where he's like, the line is just, "I'll leave the front unlocked because I can't hear the doorbell." Like, which is a thing just said by people in everyday conversations, but they've fit it into a full verse of a very up-tempo song.
Yeah.
Oh Yeah Yeah is it's like came from some storyline or something where Marzipan, like the one female character and the one character voiced by a different person, says while commenting on Strong Bad, she says, "I really don't like him at all." And then the song is just how many times she says, "Oh yeah, yeah, I really, 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 really don't like him at all." That's it. That's the whole song. But she's like, "Okay, this is in the key of this," and then she says, "Okay, ready to rock, Carol?" And Carol is the name of her acoustic guitar. So this one is aping like sort of like earlier, like I'm gonna say 90s chick rock is what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Because it's Midnight is a limousine song. It's not a tarantula song. It's a limousine song. Heart of a lion, wings of a bat, because it's midnight. Gibberish. It doesn't mean shit. But like this exists just to be like, this is what limousine sounds like.
Sure.
In the second verse opens with like oh God, what are the second verse? It goes something something California, West Hollywood. He's just listing places in LA, which is a specific from a video about like, oh, 80 songs are so very much of just saying words like woman and tonight and basically the name of any street in LA. and then they do that, and they did it again in here. Circles is one of my favorites. It gives you a very specific vibe in a very specific place. It is of no reference to anything existing in any previous cartoon that I have ever found.
All right.
It's a funny idea they have that stands on its own, and it's Strong Bad's like early jams. Like he's in a dorm room, some guy is playing like a Kahan or like a shitty bongo or using something else for a bongo. You can hear that. You can hear people talking in the background. Some guy is just plucking on an acoustic and there's no real thing to it. Circles. She's spinning me around in circles again. Oh, that skinny blonde girl. Something about the ages. She took me to different. Then, like, the second verse comes in with, like, a real. And she goes, okay, I'm just going to recite this. She took me to different places, like the university bookstore and the financial aid office. I had to borrow her parking pass, working on the night staff, at the computer lab. I totally found out her screen name. Oh, that skinny blonde girl. And the circles, and the ages, and the ages. I didn't go to college in the 90s, Jason, but the speaker of those lyrics clearly did.
Sure. There's no doubt about that.
And I just keep laughing about it. Let's get started on doing all those awesome things that I suggested. It's just like a slow jam, and it's 45 seconds of him doing a talk down, being like, "Yo, girl," and then this could have been improvised. I don't know.
Sure, yeah.
Moving very slowly is funny because it involves very fast guitar riffing, but that is fast metal. I don't know the word for that.
Could it be speed metal? I don't know. I know that's a thing.
If Trogdor is like a tarantula song, but Strong Bad is singing it,
yeah.
Moving Very Slowly is a tarantula song, period. Because the guy singing it is not Strong Bad, but like the more you listen to it, the more you're like, oh, this is the same guy who voices Strong Bad. But it's a different voice of a heavy metal vocalist.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, that's another thing I also give him is his range was not what I expected. Lots of range. As evidenced by the next one, I couldn't pick up a more random transition than Moving Very Slowly into the theme song to Sweet Cup and Cakes. Very more famously, there's one Strong Bad email where the guy's like, do you ever watch any Japanese cartoons? And Strong Bad paints what their world would look like if it was an anime, and it's a funny take on anime. This is just a random. Some guy writes, he's like, hey, do you ever see a crazy cartoon? And like, for whatever reason, they answer it, and he's just like, all right, I'll make a crazy cartoon. And then he just like riffs this like weird sort of Dada surrealist kind of thing called Sweet Cup and Cakes. And the point is just everything's random. One of the little like things in there, I just used to quote it all the time, just because it was my favorite thing. But there was no theme song in the cartoon. Like, this is pre-adults. Well, it's not pre-Adult Swim, but it's pre like
It's right before Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Sure, yeah.
But it wound up kind of looking like a lot of that stuff without any of the vulgarity. And it's like, it doesn't exist as its own thing. It exists in like 2 references in the thing. I think I Have a Chance with This Guy is silly. What if what's her face, one of the Teen Girl Squad members, sings her own song, and they ape the setup by like it begins with a phone call. She gets a phone call from a cute boy, which is all that they want. And this boy goes, "Oh hi, is this what's her face?" "Yes, this is what's her face." "This is Paul." "Ah, that's awesome! I have to sing a song now." And she hangs up to sing this song. 45 seconds. It's like it was meant to be is like slow jam piano ballad maybe. Night Mamas is another Limousine song. Sensitive to Bees, I don't know if that's a genre. That's like Marzipan doing a different folk song, but unlike all the other ones, this one's calling it out rather than being a sincere version of whatever it's making fun of. This is just Marzipan doing a thing, and Strong Bad just is giving her shit every other line, and it's funny in a different way. And then it's also like the one of only 2 appearances of Homestar himself in it. You've Got an Ugly Butt and a Stupid Butt. It's pretty self-explanatory. These People's Try to Fade Me is probably the fan favorite. It's probably like, if there was a most anticipated song on this highly awaited album, it would have been that, because it came from one random reference. They have a character named Coach Z who started back in when the Homestar Runner, like the Homestar Runner's introduced us. This is the Homestar Runner. He's a terrific athlete. As an actual athlete in an actual competition, well, Coach Z was the coach who would actually do coach things. And he was noteworthy for his very thick Minnesotan accent. He's the coach, the Coach Z. And then, not even slowly, pretty quickly, his credibility as a coach became both non-existent and irrelevant. And he's just a guy who's there named Coach Z, who speaks in a heavy Minnesotan accent and talks about the Wu-Tang Clan all the time. So I don't know when the reference was, but it was like, oh yes, and Coach Z's a long-awaited hip-hop track. And he goes like, and he just pops in, he just goes, "These people's tried to fade me." And then they just made that whole song. And there's like, unlike all like braggadocious hip-hop, they clearly got like 90s hip-hop on the brain when they're doing this. This is like, it goes like, Coach Z's got money, but not much. Coach Z's got money, but not much. I could use $1. I could use a couple bucks. I'm so old school. 1 2 1 2. They tore the school down. 1 2 1 2. I've been laughing about that line for 20 years because it's really good. I once wrote a paper in college where I quoted the following track, "The Ladies in My Town All Know My Name." One of my favorite stanzas of poetry ever, because it goes as follows. "I am fairly great, and the ladies in my town all know my name, except for this one girl. She thinks my name's Brian." That's the whole song. It's the 45 seconds of a whole track. Then there's the theme from Danger-esque 2, whole thing, but it's very like one of the last lines is, "He's a private eye, a crooked cop, a secret agent, and a celebrity pharmacist," which goes to show you what all they're cramming into like the Danger-esque thing.
I love it.
Somebody told me, and now I believe them, it goes full on bluegrass. I forgot about this one. It's full on bluegrass for a moment. Just to do more of like, if there's one recurring theme in the whole album, it's Strong Bad telling you that he is awesome.
Right.
And cool and great. That's it. This time he does it in bluegrass. Then it goes into The Cheat Is Not Dead, which did come from its own tune. Like it was the ending of a cartoon where they try and pull a caper to steal the answers to the Daily Jumble from Homestar, but they mess it up, and Strong Bad gets mad at the cheat, and then he can't find the cheat, and then he's sad because what if the cheat is dead? So he sings, "I got mad at the chief for screwing up the jumble caper.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I don't see his name in the paper in the obituaries because that would mean he's dead. The chief is not dead." And then it goes into like a full-on choir. And my favorite part is when it's just doing full-on church choir call and response.
Mm-hmm.
And like they're just singing like, "Oh, she's not dead. She's not dead." They're like, "She is not dead. She is not dead." And he's just like calling out in between the chorus. And then randomly in the middle, he goes like, "Oh, let's go to the store. She is not dead. Oh, you like a receipt? Oh, she is not dead. You got the frozen foods. She is not dead. No, she's not dead." What was that about? But it's in there. And then most importantly, the very last track, "Everybody to the Limit Live," is making fun of albums themselves as understood in 2003 by doing two specific things. One, making the last track live. "Everybody to the Limit" is a music video that existed from another email where somebody signed the email with like a bunch of like gibberish, like they just button mashed. And so he actually tries to pronounce what they say, and he creates a character called Fahugwagods. Like, you know what? Can I just say Fahugwagods? All right, look, Fahugwagods. And then Fahugwagods becomes the character addressed in this whole song. What they did was they just threw that track in, but they put the sounds of a live concert underneath it.
Right.
Making fun of the fact that, oh yeah, like sometimes an album's like, "Oh, we'll put a live track on at the end." And then it's silent for 2 minutes, and then the secret song comes in.
Sure.
Which is another things that albums used to do when that was more important before digital. And it's just like the only other appearance of Homestar just having his Homestar minute of doing like a silly piano ballad. So I counted.
I loved having a secret song back then. That or the rare rewind on track one, and it's in the negative. Yeah, no, the negative space, the negative time. If you rewind from track one, and it'll go backwards, and it is basically starts from -3 is where this song is. There are a lot of XTC did that a couple of times.
I'm not familiar with that at all. Wait, this is not on a cassette tape?
No. On your CD, you go to track one, and then you hit rewind, and then it'll rewind to the negative. It's basically programmed to have negative time on track one, and it'll always start playing from 0. But if you rewind, then you'll get to like -3 minutes or however long that song is.
I didn't even know that was possible.
I know. I didn't know that until years after I found that out. It was even a thing. But yeah, that's not what I meant to say. My brain is fried, Salem. Yeah, no, I didn't know that until much later than I should have known is what I meant to say.
Blah. I know about backmasking, but yeah. So
sure.
I counted some I think some of them can be a little bit more specific, like what I feel like they're doing, but I'm gonna guess there's like 17 specific genres.
There's a lot.
It's more than 5. Somewhere between 5 and 17.
Yeah. I feel like you walking me through this, A, helped me appreciate it. B, does against what would have been my better judgment an hour ago, does make me want to go back and watch some. So I'm going to have to do that at some point. Maybe I'll have to ask you for a catered list of ones to watch so that
I might be able to do that.
I dig into the ones that, I should also ask Dan, because Dan might have been... Dan Gomillier. There's also a good chance one of the reasons I didn't like this at the time was that we were also trying to break into the internet, and I might have been jealous. I wouldn't put it past me in my 20s. Would not put that past me. So that's a possible reason I didn't pay attention to it.
I wouldn't put it past you in your 20s either.
No, not at all. So you've done that. I would not have wanted the task I set to you, which was explain all these in-jokes to me, but you did a brilliant job. Genuinely. A great job.
I have waited 15 to 20 years for somebody to just actually physically sit here for a half hour while I say all of that. Finally.
It was great, and it gave me context. It made me laugh then on reflection of what I heard. I'm like, oh, now that makes sense. So that was, I would normally ask somebody to explain why. Well, now I can still ask you, why give this record a listen? Let's say if you can walk somebody through who's a non-fan or doesn't know who they are, and then if they are a fan, because this is obviously a fan service record, but Why give this sucker a listen? Actually, let me stop you there. Favorite track first, and then answer that question.
Favorite track is probably Circles, followed by The Ladies in My Town All Know My Name.
Okay.
Though like the top, like side A, you know, like going back to like Chalk Door, Systems Down, Strung Bad National Anthem, like those, I'm like, oh, those are flagship songs. Those are like they had some of the more like people would recognize them from just the internet stuff alone. Unlike a lot of these, which might either be a deep cut reference or they're not even a reference. It's an original thing that they were filling the album with. So hell, maybe that's also what's happening with so many of those like 1 minute or less songs. They're making a joke about how an album is a couple of singles and then a bunch of filler. Like these guys clearly have listened to a lot of music. And they have something to say about what an album is here.
Right.
That's you know why. That's also the answer to your next question. Is that's why you listen to it. I think these people's Try to Fade Me and Everybody to the Limit is pretty impressive because like the song, like a couple of the songs are like, let's just say something silly. Most of the songs are, let's point out what's ridiculous about a genre or a mechanism of the recording industry by doing it and like full committing to a ridiculous version of it. Yeah.
Perfect. That's in summation, you did a great job. In summation.
I'm Morgan.
Salem. Why don't you tell the good people where they can find you and tell them what you have to promote, keeping in mind this might not come out for weeks upon weeks.
Oh, it doesn't matter what time you listen to this. You can find me on twitch.tv/shaman_Steve. Fulfilling and or servicing, if you're lucky, all of your shaman_ needs.
It's fair. That is fair. This has been a delight. As usual.
Thank you
for coming on the show.
Wait, how many times?
Hey, how many times have you been on the show now? I have no idea.
On the Comedy on Vinyl show
with
Jason Klum?
Yes, sir.
I don't know. Let's do this. You know what? There you go. And if we're summating, if this is the time, let's do this. The first one I did was I went with you to Paul Zaloom's house, which is like
that was the first time, wasn't it?
For me. Like a life highlight. Not only did I get to meet Beekman, go to his house, he showed us all of his cool subversive art and like explained. And we went to one of his puppet shows later.
Yeah,
and I understood what actually the place I'm house sitting in as we speak. They have like a poster somewhere that like it's a reference to Bread and Puppet Theater, which is where Zaloom cut his teeth. And not only that, but the album he chose was The Bad Rapping of the Marquis de Sade by Lord Buckley, which was my introduction to friggin' Lord Buckley, which was like, holy heck. I still listen to Lord Buckley sometimes. That was a lot to break down to get into it, but it wonderful stuff. Me and Lieberman joined you and Urbaniak on
a self-serving 100th episode.
No, that was COV 100. And then I did like I also did COV 200, maybe?
No, the next one you were on and the last one you were on was in 2015 when we talked about the first family. That doesn't seem possible, but I guess
we never did First Family Rides again, did we?
No, we didn't. Have you heard it?
2015 we did First Family, that's right.
Yeah. Part of me now feels like we need to listen to the other First Family album. It's probably garbage, but you know,
that was fun. Now I can appreciate Mobituaries so much better, knowing like having listened to the album and understood why Von Meter was so highly regarded.
Oh, I want to show you something. Speaking of that, before I let you go,
I don't believe I was on any.
In the middle of this.
I think you're right. I wasn't on any other COV.
That's weird to me that you
just those lovely Stolen Dress sidecasts. Those are some of my favorites.
These. I actually still need to cut episode 800.
This is an exclusive, folks. If you listen to the Stolen Dress sidecasts, it's me. I am the voice of David Strathairn.
I didn't even know. No, this. You know that I own like 20 copies of the First Family.
Yeah, and to be fair, who doesn't?
That's fair. It's a mental disorder.
I own like 3 of your copies of The First Family.
Oh, that's right. I don't think my wife likes that I have this many of them, but I started trying to figure out what my art project is going to be with them. And I used my Cricut, which is a nice little craft cutter. And I don't know if you can read that, what I cut into it and peeled away. Can you read what that says? That's step 1. I don't know what's going to be behind the letters, but I have to carefully do that. I had to.
I'm friggin' George McFly laughing in the bad 85 at the beginning of the movie.
Sure.
You somehow you've got these. Okay, you use your Cricut machine. You've got these little cutout letters, or you've cut it out of the artwork,
out of the record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of the album cover on itself onto a back. So what it looks like is the image of the cover of the album, The First Family. And inside, in the same font, is just like the words kind of like centered in the frame. Well, Von Meter's fucked.
I don't know what else I'm doing with it, but I just decided the other night I have to start work on this, or it's a terrible waste of space.
Who was it? I think it's actually in the obituaries. It wasn't the night Kennedy died. It was like a night or two later. And wasn't it Lenny Bruce?
Yeah. So tasteless, but it is really, really, really too funny.
Some people just know. Some people. It reminds me of like, I was rewatching Chappelle. And like it would be like he releases like 2 specials at once on Netflix, like a 1-2 punch.
Right.
And one of them was recorded like it was pre-scheduled, but it happened to be taped like the week or like the second week when like the Me Too movement had really just begun.
Oh,
It was,
okay.
like, right in the thick of it. And like he's saying shit that at the time you're like, I don't know if this is, you might be going in the wrong. I don't know. And then like in hindsight, I'm like, I think he was just looking at it with a slightly longer lens. I don't know why the Lenny Bruce comment reminds me of it. Like, yeah, at the time we go like, ooh, but like,
Sure.
here we are 60 years later talking about how cool that was.
Yeah. Right. But also a total dick move at the same time. But it makes
Lenny Bruce, ladies and gentlemen.
Lenny Bruce. Funny court transcripts. I feel like I should at least, I don't know, go listen to the Dan and Jay's Comedy Hour podcast. Alex Salem popped up there every once in a while. Listen to the News Radio podcast. You were on an episode of that.
I did the one. I did the one where we did the reading of the. I did one in like season 1, and you, me, Alan, and Jen, and then I did. And then I played Jimmy James in the read through.
I forget that I keep forgetting that that's technically an episode of the show. But yeah, you were Jimmy James because there's nobody else I was going to allow to be Jimmy James.
I gotta say, looking back through my memories, that was a big day, Dave.
So stupid. I love it so much.
That's right.
That's right. We've had the actual Jimmy James on the podcast. Stephen Root was on the show, and Alex Salem. So that's a 1-2 punch right there. Alex, thank you again
right there
for joining me.
Well, to do this again, that's a 1-2 punch right there.
And thank you guys for listening. And as always, have a good thing. Comedy on Vinyl is a production of StolenDress Entertainment. It is produced by Mike Warden and is hosted and edited by Jason Klom. Our theme song was composed and performed by Richard Levinson. You can email us at podcast@comedyonvinyl.com. You can also send snail mail to StolenDress Entertainment, P.O. Box 805, Burbank, California, 91503. Subscribe to Comedy on Vinyl on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else you can find podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating and write us a review. It helps. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Comedy on Vinyl, or find everything in one place at comedyonvinyl.com. A major portion of Comedy on Vinyl has been underwritten by Stand Up Records. Please visit standuprecords.com for all your comedy needs and tune in to the new Stand Up Records channel available on the Roku, where you can also find select episodes of this podcast. Visit StolenDress.com to listen to our other podcasts, watch videos, and imbibe freely of our multimedia content going back 15 plus years. StolenDress Entertainment.
Hey, it's my turn. Ah!